Welcome to the Good Good podcast. I'm your host, Dee Talley, mama, licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, and embodiment coach. Here we dive deep into the realms of energy, consciousness, awareness, empowerment, and personal transformation to help you create a more vibrant and juicy life. Hey everybody, and welcome. This is the Good Good with Dee Talley, and I'm your host, Dee Talley. Woof. Okay, first things first, my husband is doing work on the roof right now, and you might be able to hear him pounding in nails. And so, this is real life, and I record when I can record. And so I'm actually just happy to be talking to you, and it's daylight hours, and my kids aren't here. They're at grandma's right now. So, we don't have them as interruptions, but we do have hammering nails as interruptions, maybe. So anyway, I had this epiphany where I realized that not everybody maybe knew what I was talking about when I was talking about the collective consciousness. And when I was talking about this in the anger episode last week, I wanted to go back and I wanted to talk about the collective. I want to talk about frequencies and energetics, and I want to talk about the difference between lack and abundance mindset, how to know if you're in lack, how to switch yourself out of lack, etc., etc. I'm going to say it and then I'm going to explain it. So, when I say your mind is creating your reality, what I really mean is your beliefs, your feelings, your emotions, and the subconscious programs that you're running that were ingrained in you at a young age are what creates the reality around you. So if you're running on a program of lack, you will always be seeing lack. Like, you will create a reality in which lack exists all around you. And this is about energetic vibration. So everything has an energetic vibration, and it's a frequency that is measured in the form of hertz. And so there's a researcher, psychiatrist, author named Dr. David Hawkins, and he created what we call this map of consciousness, and it's measured in frequencies. And so it's really, really interesting because the frequencies of enlightenment, peace, love, reason, acceptance, all of these are at a much higher frequency than shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear. Okay, so it's actually measured out. So when I said that the collective consciousness is vibrating low, this is exactly what I'm talking about. The measurable emotion in which our collective is at is low. And so this is basically lack mindset. So it's a very, very, very low vibration. And we have to talk a little bit about the energetic laws. So first off, the law of attraction, which I'm sure you hear a lot of, and this idea of manifesting, which I kind of have problems with those ideas at times, but the law of attraction means that like attracts like. So if everything in the universe has a vibration and you yourself are putting out those vibrations, what like attracting like means is that you are going to get back exactly what you put out. It's almost like the universe as a mirror. And so you're pre-programmed, you're in your subconscious is going to manifest, in a way, your reality. So your brain is smart. And your brain is always going to try to prove itself right. So things might be happening or programs might be running that actually don't have your consent. Autopilot, comfort zone, woof, right? In order to understand and give your consent, you have to kind of zoom out and see what is running the show here. Is it old? Do I believe it? Etc., etc. So back to lack for a second. So lack is always focused on scarcity, insufficiency. It says you're not enough. There are limits. It can be anything. It can be love. It could be money. It can be success or resources. And this type of mindset leads you down a road of fear, anxiety, inadequacy. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. It's like if you're in lack mindset, you're creating lack mindset. You're going to see lack all the way around you at all times. And so this, as I was saying, is a lower energetic frequency. So by putting out that lower energetic frequency, you're attracting back to you low energetic frequency. So how many of you have said the phrase, I can't afford it? That is like number one, like, oof, lack, boom, in your face, right? Because you can make the argument, well, Dee, if I said, how can I afford it? Then I'm not in reality. That's not real, because in my bank account, I'm looking at the numbers and I'm seeing that I can't afford it. But when you say, how can I afford it? It shifts the energy, right? It makes it more about curiosity instead of stuckness. It makes it about curiosity. And so I'm not saying if your bank account, is low, that you should go out and start buying a bunch of shit that, will drain your bank account. And so you won't be able to afford your basic needs. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying don't live in reality, but I'm saying think about the implication of saying, I can't afford it. You're going to find evidence all around you of not being able to afford things and feeling like nothing is ever enough. And just feeling like you're constantly reaching outside of yourself to make yourself whole. So that's what I'm saying about lack. So you focus on what's missing. You focus on what you don't have rather than what you do have. It might lead to comparison of yourself and others, kind of like keeping up with the Joneses. Like, oh, my neighbors just got their home redone and, our home is old. Except, you see what I'm saying? Or fear of loss. Like if you have things, you think it can be taken away so easily. And it also leads you down a road of negative self-talk. I'll never have what I want. I'm not enough. These are self-limiting beliefs. And if you think money is hard to come by, then money will always be hard to come by. You see what I'm saying? Or time. I never have enough time. It's like you only never have enough time if you actually think that you never have enough time. So you can also have resistance to change or fearful of doing new things because of failure. And so how do you know if you're in lack? Well, I just gave you a lot of examples and characteristics, but I broke it down in what I think is the most simplest way to know whether or not you might be in lack is if you've put your focus outside of yourself to make yourself whole in any regard, whether it's you need to buy this new skincare product because, that will make you pretty, or you need to take this supplement because that's what your health needs. It's like we need to look inside of ourselves. And that is what that's what shifts you to abundance mentality. I'm going to explain a little bit more how to do that, kind of like breaking it down a bit. But if you're in a state of lack, you're going to feel stuck or stagnant or like you're always short. You're always short on time, you're short on money, and you always feel a struggle. And so I want for you to not feel that way. I really, really do. And I think that I care about humanity a lot. And I think that everybody should know how to shift their mindset in order to vibrate higher. Because if you're vibrating higher, you're going to attract more higher vibrations, right? So I want to talk a little bit about the characteristics of abundance. And so abundance basically puts your focus on gratitude. It puts your focus on what you do have and the blessings and opportunities and resources that are available to you right now. And the belief in infinite possibilities, like the beginner's mind, the assumption that everything is always working out for you and that it's inevitable that you'll always get what you want. And it focuses on generosity and sharing and the belief that there's always enough. There's always enough to go around. So we see this in like a small town situation with like competition, and it's like I could say, oh, I'm worried about this other acupuncturist in my town taking my patients, or, she's going to have more than me or make more than me or whatever. And it's like, no, actually, Positive Polly believes that there's always enough. There's always enough patients. There's always enough money, and that there are truly infinite possibilities and resources available. And actually, money is easy to come by. So it also puts a focus on positive self-talk and dialogue, where you're coming from a place of feeling whole and you're resilient and optimistic. You believe that setbacks are temporary, in that they're actually just happening for you and getting you to a place that's closer to your truth. And it leads to a sense of confidence or success, meaning that you can achieve your goals, you can make as much money as you want, you can attract success. And I'm touching on this here a little bit, but examples of abundance is what I just said. Money's everywhere. Money's easily received. I love money. Money loves me. I'm secure in my relationships. Opportunities surround me. I'm always successful. There's always enough time to do everything that's important to me. And I can manage my resources effectively. So what does this lead to? It leads to a greater sense of happiness and resilience and success. And it encourages curiosity and having a proactive approach. And you will then attract more positive experiences, a more richness in experiences and opportunities and connections. So if you are a person who, and by the way, which you know this by now, if I've just described you and you are, oh my God, Dee, I am 100% in lack. This sucks. I didn't realize it, yada, yada. It's like, bitch, we're not trying to make you feel worse, right? Let's not add emotion on top of emotion where you're like, ugh, how could I do that to myself? How could this happen? Understand that the programs that are running are very, very, very old. They're things that we developed as children to survive. They are ways in which we've learned how to navigate that kept us safe. And so we don't want to say, oh man, I'm the worst. It's like, no, we want to say thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for keeping me safe. Thank you. And I'm now going to actually choose something different. Big D is going to choose something different than little d. You got me? So again, we are being very neutral about our observations in ourselves, because when we add that layer of judgment on top, it just gets all mucked up, right? We've talked about that time and time again. So always a neutral perspective. So if you are actively in lack and you're like, okay, I really want to not be, I'm going to tell you how to do that. Okay. So firstly, you have to observe your behaviors, your thoughts, your actions. What are you doing? What are you saying? Is it just coming out of your mouth? Like you're like, I can't afford that. Oh, it's automatic, right? We have to first notice where we're at. And then when you notice where you're at, put your focus on gratitude, the things you have, the things that are going right, in believing that it's all possible. It's always all possible. And changing your self-talk will help you reinforce this mindset shift. It will create space between you and the stories that you're spinning. And practicing generosity and giving freely, and the idea that there's enough to go around, and you will see that there is enough to go around. If you surround yourself with people who are always in lack, your circle of influence, the top, 5 people that you spend your most time with, that is a big reality check, right? Because it's like, if my sphere of influence is all of these people in lack, that tells me something as information. And you can also use your mind to help you visualize more abundance. So this is imaginal work is absolutely priceless. And you might think that you are nuts when you're in like an imaginal state or when you're, doing visualizations, but it's your brain doesn't know the difference between you visualizing and your actual reality. I think that is a really amazing thing. So, highly, highly successful and abundant people spend time visualizing, training your brain, seeing all of these scenarios play out in positive, encouraging, cup overflowing. And they visualize those things for themselves because, like I said, your brain doesn't know the difference. And investing in your own personal growth, whether that's a course or education or self-care or skill development or learning how to meditate, will reflect to you the belief in your own potential, in the belief that you can vibrate higher and that you are vibrating higher. It's already done. It's already done. So practicing continual mindfulness helps you be more aware of your thoughts. And like I said, these programs might be old and therefore kind of the ruts are pretty deep, right? So in order for you to get off onto another path, you have to really be consistent in understanding what are the words that are coming out of my mouth? What are the beliefs that are in my head that are circling over and over and over again? And do they have my consent? Is that what I want to be thinking, feeling, and doing and being? And then celebration of success, whether it is big or small milestones, is important because this is also going to help you in the belief in yourself. And if you believe in yourself, I think no possibility is out of reach. And it's important to set intentions as well, not just goals, but intentions. And if you can be really, really sense-felt about those intentions and about what you're going for, what you're doing, and visualizing these things inevitably happening, like you can see it, you can smell it, you can taste it. Money is everywhere, right? And you can use your senses to help you reinforce this. Because the truth is that you are the medicine. You are the medicine. So if you're coming at life from a place of knowing, because you are whole, whether or not you know it, you are whole. So if you can come at it from a place of, I'm whole and I know it, and I don't need anything outside of me to do something for me. I am the medicine. I am the medicine. That is the ultimate state of abundance. And this is just a random aside. I realized that I want to talk a little bit about authenticity because in his work, David Hawk noticed that authenticity is one of the highest vibrations. That is because the energetic qualities of authenticity are courage, acceptance, and love. Because it takes courage to express yourself in your true self, in the face of judgment, in the face of societal norms, in the face of cringe culture, right? And authenticity requires a level of acceptance, of self-acceptance and acknowledgement that you're free from a mask or some type of false pretense. And being authentic creates a space for unconditional love of yourself, and it fosters connection. It's like the authenticity in me sees the authenticity in you. So authenticity is an extremely, extremely high vibration. So that is another thing to notice. If you notice that there are things that you say where you're like, oof, that's not quite me, or this is how I actually want to say that, you can raise yourself to a higher vibrational frequency by having that awareness and by almost like catching yourself, right? Imagine a world where we're all vibrating high. Imagine a world where we feel completely safe to be the most authentic versions of ourselves, the most embodied versions of ourselves, and the most whole versions of ourselves. Consciously whole, like you're already whole, but do you know that you're whole? And I just think that the world would be a much different place. Because think about it, if everybody is vibrating at that authentic frequency and from a place of courage, acceptance, love, peace, reason, enlightenment, right? Pure consciousness. Just imagine how much the collective consciousness can shift if everybody is vibrating at that higher frequency. I just think that I can already see it. I can already see it. I just think that that would do absolute wonders for the collective shift. If everybody vibrated from a place of abundance and acceptance, love, enlightenment, yeah, that is the juice. I love talking about energetics and energetic concepts, and I think it's really, really important in mindset work, in energy work, and in bettering ourselves. Lastly, I want to say that think of all the energy that we hemorrhage being constantly worried about things, constantly worried about love, money, whether we have enough, safety. You know, there's a lot of energy spilt that way. And I think I sometimes have these moments where I think about what would happen if instead of putting all of that energy into worry, if we could shift it or channel it elsewhere. Think of all the energy that we would have to do other things and to bring us closer to our truest, highest selves. Because the truth is, and I heard this like a few years back, worry is a down payment on a problem that you don't have. Think about that. And I question if you spin up scenarios of worry, of things that are like worst case or kind of doom, or like I think about that energetic and what happens. Like, then are you programmed to be like seeing all the doom? Like you automatically get back that worry? I recently told a patient, I said, you have a new mantra, and your new mantra is everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for me. Anyway, so that is all I have for you today. And I really appreciate you being here, and I appreciate having these conversations. And like I said, I just care about humanity and I want you to shift into a place of just feeling the most abundance ever. And so that is all I have for you. And I will see you back in the next episode.